Several hundred demonstrators took over the streets of San Francisco today. Police had to help shareholders enter Wells Fargo's annual meeting. At issue, the bank's lending and policy on foreclosures. More than 24 protesters were arrested. Organizers say to expect more civil disruptions in the coming days as the Occupy movement jumpstarts their campaign against the 1%. For insights into what happened today in San Francisco at the Wells Fargo shareholder meeting, I'm joined by Maria Poblet, who is the executive director of Just Cause. So today's protest, is it just the start of a whole series of protests that will be rolled out? What's the strategy?
Absolutely. This is the first time that there's a nationally coordinated effort to bring together the 99% as a whole. Unions, community groups, Occupy activists, very new activists, people losing their homes. All of us are coming together. Wells Fargo is just the beginning of a shareholder season of protests. The next one is May 9th at Bank of America in Charlotte. We, in fact, at the end of the march today, went to Bank of America and said, "You're next."
Now, it's interesting because these are external protesters. Is there an effort to try to get shareholders to be protesting as well?
Sure. We actually had shareholders today at the Wells Fargo meeting. We had protesters inside the shareholder meeting, in the lobby, locking the doors outside, and then thousands of us outside in the streets. This is actually what's going to happen in Charlotte. It's what's going to happen in cities across the country this whole spring.
Okay, so be specific. What do you want to happen? What is your demand?
We have 4 demands. The first one is that we want an immediate moratorium on foreclosures and on evictions. Wells Fargo is also a landlord when they take over these properties and they don't respect tenant rights. The second is an end to predatory lending. The predatory lending that happened and that still happens that targeted Black and Latino people is outrageous. The predatory lending now in the form of payday loans is just another way to make the same people poor again. The third demand is that they stop investing in private prisons that detain immigrants, which is a dirty, dirty business that they should have nothing to do with. And the fourth demand is that they pay their fair share in taxes.
So the 4 demands, 3 of them relate to financial. The one regarding prisons is a bit of a surprise. It seems like a little bit of an outlier. Are you saying that all of those companies who will be targeted are all investing in or somehow related to the privatization of prisons?
Well, that should be researched because I bet they are. But what we have today, those are the demands on Wells Fargo.
I see.
There are very similar ones on many of the big banks. Well, certainly all of them have their hand in foreclosures and in kicking people out of their homes. Most of the protesters are actually connected to the housing crisis in some way. And then there's a lot of themes in the way the 1% really gets rich off of everything.